Chermiti bang bang. Hello, welcome to the Daily Live X. I didn't realise we were live then, but we are now. Before we get into the breaking news, I just wanted to address something very quickly. Okay. I'm obviously back. Hello. I wanted to address something very quickly.
Is it the lack of milk?
It was the lack of milk was going to be one of them, but that's okay. I've corrected that. Okay. But that absolute woeful bit of, I don't even know if you can call it journalism, that was in the Daily Rag last night.
Sorry, I thought that was something aimed at me then. No.
The Daily Mail about Everton Stadium, which was quite possibly... The Daily Mail do have it in for Everton, regardless. They don't like Everton. They've made it patently clear. Mathew hates them, and he's got all his mates to geg in. And this one was absolutely disgraceful, I thought, last night, about the stadium. Led with a picture of a stadium that's getting built with 2 years, and it's still no closer to being fit. Well, it is, because 2 years ago it was a dock. And it was utter nonsense as well.
Odd piece. I don't understand it. Everton had obviously had Dan Mice and Alan Myers, and I don't know whether there was I don't know whether it was like maybe in connection with them. I don't know. Maybe they knew something about the Euros or something. Nice. And that, I don't know, but they'd obviously had Dan Mice in there. They'd obviously wanted a good story to go out there, a nice story. I don't know whether there was other journalists in there.
I think the BBC might have been there as well.
So you've got a story in the BBC that's basically saying how great it is and how close it is. I mean, they said it's going to be ready for next summer.
Yeah.
Hopefully it will be. And then you've got just a hit piece by the Mail. And I'll be honest, and we've had this conversation with people from the football club loads of times. It's mad the fact that they still get access to just do what they want and write what they want. And yet, independent media like us, Everton will say something to them and will like slap them under this, but they keep on writing these hit pieces, and it's just pathetic. And that one last night was just even more pathetic. 2 years, it's like, where's the stadium? It's like, it's there, mate. It's getting built.
Literally.
Every day we watch more and more stuff.
The biggest thing about it was you can see it's a stadium. It was like this skeleton. You're like, skeleton?
What are you talking about?
What are you not? It's a stadium.
How long do you think these things take? Like, it's getting built. And what's mad is, they basically said, and it will be built by this date. Yeah, the date that everyone said. Yeah. It's like...
That's what I mean. The headline was like really sensationalist. And then I read the thing thinking, basically it just said, Everton are getting on with the stadium. It'll be ready by the end of 24, which is what Everton have said. So if you'd have just said Everton Stadium progress 2 years on or something, then you couldn't have really got... it was just... It's still not looking any closer to being finished. You're like... Mate, go and look at it 2 years ago when it was a dock with water in it, and now it's a stadium. It was just...
It is mad.
It's sorry, but...
It is mad. It is mad. Like you can see it every day. It's getting bigger and more stuff. The roof's going on the East Stand now. You know, they've put the first bit up last week. That'll probably get... Next couple of weeks, that'll start filling out. So you'll have a roof all the way around the stadium. They've just done the scoreboard in the south end stand, putting the scoreboard bits up. The west stand, the wraparound is all the way done now from north to south. It's completely finished now. It's like there's so much happening all the time, and there's a lot to kick Everton about. But this is not one of them. This is they're getting on with this really, really well. You know, it's pathetic. Absolutely pathetic.
Yeah, just nonsense. So feel free to have a go at the Daily Mail again, because it's an absolute joke. It's an absolute joke. The thing that Everton have done. Listen, we've sat here. Everyone knows it. Everyone watching does the same. We do social media. We sit here and we can bemoan the fact that our recruitment has been poor. It really has. We can make excuses for recruitment teams all we want, but the recruitment has been poor. It's as simple as that. But the stadium has been tremendous, what they've done. Absolutely tremendous. So,
and Dan Mice being at this stadium and basically saying he's like seeing what he saw. And he was like taking pictures from like the furthest back seat and going, look how close it is. Look how intimidating it is. And look how inside, how small it is, and
how it feels,
and it's like, that's the fella who designed it, and he's like, obviously he thinks it's going on brilliantly, and Alan Myers talking about it and saying, God, it just looks amazing, and you don't realise the size of the project till you get down there. And it's like, it's moving along nicely. It's like the last thing anyone needs to moan at Everton about.
Yeah,
there's like a million other things you could have a go at Everton about, and fans would just go, yeah, you're right, yeah. But like that one's like, you've just picked the wrong fight, you absolute idiots. And I know, like, the guy who wrote it, I think it was Mike Keegan, he'll have probably just wrote a piece on it and then they've put this stupid headline on it. It's just pathetic. No wonder journalists are binning off covering Everton and going to do horse racing and all the other stuff they're doing, yeah.
They'd be binning off football altogether, so you won't be. Not trying to get signed by Saudi Pro League. That's what you want.
Absolutely, it's the dream.
That's what you want. Well, Everton, it has just broken in the last minutes that Everton have agreed a fee or a deal in principle with Sporting Lisbon for use of Chermiti. 4 goals in 41 appearances. So make of that what you will.
Yeah.
But he is obviously only 19 years of age. He's athletic, 6'4". Just turned 19 in May as well. 6'4", mobile, strong, been capped by Portugal. Every level so far up to 19s. He made 15 appearances in the top division in Portugal, the Premier League last season, and scored 3 times for Sporting in that. Very highly rated. But Everton have agreed to deal with him. He's a centre forward.
Yeah.
What's your early thoughts?
Well, like a lot of people, I am not massively familiar with this player, but I have been onto someone who actually does know, because that's his job. And the feedback's actually quite good. Good size, good speed, needs to put muscle on. He's good in the box, gets good separation, decent in the air, but he stresses patience. He is a young man. He is the one. We've been saying we need to sign the player a year before he goes somewhere, and then they end up costing us 25 million or 30 million. This is what this lad is. He's the year before. He is a project. This is not the centre forward that we all have been sort of dying for. This is a young lad who has got who they've obviously identified as all the major skill sets, but he's definitely not the finished article by any means. And as you said there, just turned 19, played 4 times for the under-19, Portugal under-19, scored 3 times. This is a very young lad. This is not the one we're all from watching Saturday's game and looking at where we. This is not the player. This is a young lad who I imagine will come in and get opportunities. So let's not all rush to put pressure on if he, it signs and it all goes through. This is a young lad who just needs patience and is definitely not Dominic Calvert-Lewin's sort of. Well, he might be Dominic Calvert-Lewin's replacement eventually, but certainly for the time being, I think this is somebody who just needs games, and it might take the pressure off Everton, and maybe Everton will go, right, we need to go and get someone on loan now. Another loan striker, someone who's been around the block a little bit,
older.
Someone who can give this lad an opportunity to grow over a year, and that's this. So let's not sort of start going, oh my God, he doesn't score goal. This is not a player that I don't think anyone would expect to go into the first team and make massive ripples this season. Just a player that we allow to build and build and build.
Well, it's the players that we're saying we should be signing, isn't it? Doesn't take away the need we need right now.
No.
And we saw that on Saturday. Obviously, Dan Guma was up there for the first half, and if he touched the ball 5 times, that's probably he done well. But wasn't expecting anything. It was his first 45 minutes. Everton didn't play very well at all anyway. And we know that his main position is going to be off wide areas anyway, Dan Guma. He's just an emergency striker, isn't he? But Everton do need a centre forward.
Yeah,
Dominic Calvert-Lewin again not involved.
Well, there's a game tomorrow, isn't there? Monza behind closed doors, and that feels that maybe that's been arranged
For Dom and
for Dom. Yeah, well, possibly,
Belly apparently is in contention.
Yeah,
for that.
so that'd be great, wouldn't it? And also that takes the pressure off them. It's not everything's on the spotlight, isn't it? Everything's in front of everyone. In fact,
thinking this Saturday, I was watching the game. I think we've had this conversation before anyway, but years ago, you just didn't see these games, did you? The odd game like Stoke where you could have maybe gone. Yeah. But I was watching a lot of other teams. Like Liverpool played one last week, and
it was basically
it was behind closed doors.
Well, basically behind closed doors. Them, German,
the German side.
Sorry.
And all of that.
Not Greta Thunberg.
What's she doing playing behind closed doors? Great for the
economical. Very economical.
The environments didn't want to,
very economical.
Make a carbon footprint any bigger. A lot of the years ago, you just see the score. Everton 1-1 against Stoke, and that would have been it with a goal from him. You know what I mean? And now we watch it and we criticise it, or we pour over everything. It wasn't good Saturday.
No,
it wasn't good. Second half was better than the first half, but there's still, the plus out. We'll get back onto Chermiti in a minute. The plus is probably from Saturday for me, but like Brandthwaite. Thought Brandthwaite was excellent when he came on. Thought Dobbin done all right. I know he's not. He should have definitely scored. He should have definitely scored one of the two chances he had. But
he's raw, isn't he?
But at least he's direct.
He was good. I don't know how much he saw at Bolton.
No, all of it.
Yeah, he was good against Bolton. He's
direct.
He gets into good areas. He's just not a great finisher. He's a
wide player though, isn't he?
He needs to learn to just get a little bit of control of the ball, but he runs into some really intelligent play areas of the pitch. So yeah, Saturday.
I thought Tom Nana was a good Saturday.
Yeah. No, it is funny. Like when you're watching, like I've seen a bit of the games in America last night, and you do want a bit of that, but it's like 75,000 people, and the managers are trying to get those games are intense as well. They create an intensity. And you just wonder whether that's exactly what managers want at this time of year. But, I think Pochettino said it last night. Play 3 games in a week, big games, lots of eyes on it, lots of the wet, the heat, intense heat and all that kind of. So you do wonder whether that's exactly what they want, or
money dictates it though, doesn't it? Ideally, would they choose that? I don't think they would, but they're in it, aren't they? And it gets you up to speed. I mean, Stoke left a few on us on Saturday. They let us know that some of the tackles, the one on McNeil, the second challenge was shocking. But yeah, they won the game, didn't they? Another clean sheet for Big Sean. But yeah, back to the likes of Chermiti. Again, if you look at transfer market's not a great indicator of what people's fees should be really, whatever algorithm they use. They've got them listed as 3 million, and it's supposed to be around 17.
Yeah, we're not getting it for 3 million.
So, we'll see what happens there. But he is a young player, and I imagine the terms have been favourable for Everton, and that's why they've been able to do the deal.
Yeah,
it's as simple as that. If we choose to sell Damari Gray, maybe we'll see another foray into the market. If we sell Neil Mopai, or the Salernitana CEOs come out and said that they'd be interested in a money plus Mopai for Dia. Will Everton do that? That would be, if Everton done that would be, I would be delighted with those two then, because you would have a 26-year-old Boulaye Dia who's 1-2 last season. You've obviously got Dom, and you've obviously then got Chermiti, who could take his time, and he really could. You could just use him sparingly and develop him. That would be really sensible. I would suggest. Yeah. But I don't know whether Everton will follow. I think they need one. I think they absolutely need
massively. Again, though, it all comes down to where Dominic Calvert-Lewin is. We don't know where he is, what he's doing. Apparently, he trained at a very heavy, hard training session on Saturday. So it's about his level. Seen something with Steve Stone. I think it was while he was in Switzerland, saying it's about getting him right again. It's about making sure he's right, making sure he's at the level, sustainable level. But we've heard all these things before, so we all take it with a pinch of salt, and rightly so. So we'll just have to wait and see what the actual need how much of a need is, for that centre forward. But we need one anyway. And as you said there, I'd like to have seen. Would have been lovely actually to see Dan Juma playing his proper position on Saturday. But ultimately, it's about giving him, 45 minutes, getting something in his legs, and then he'll play again. I imagine tomorrow, maybe another 45, and then he'll probably be looking more than closer to an hour for a full game on Saturday. But you don't want to start him, playing him in his position that he's not. That's not his most favourable position. Players who play in their real positions.
Is it going to be the Chermiti derby on Saturday then?
It could well be.
Could the handover? Half each.
Half each.
If we do the handover, we welcome him. We are passing into you for his next bit of development. Just bring Marcel Brands in for the day on loan, just to go, we will look after your boy. This club will look after him.
I promise, son.
But yeah, listen, it's if Everton get it over the line, it's a striker. It's what we've been talking about. It's someone who you're looking to develop. It's someone who hopefully does well and you can sell on for big money. And I know it sounds negative talking like that, but that has to be the model we adopt.
It's the reality. Do you know what, right? Because, put this out last week when we were talking about strikers, and loads of people, we're a selling club and all this now. It's just I had a few words last week about it, but I was seeing a little bit of bright. I was watching last night, lying in bed, and Sky News was on. It was the season review from the season before last. So I was just looking at Brighton's team. It's just looking at the players that have left their club in the last 2 seasons. It's 4 of their most important players, or 3, maybe nearly 4 of their most important players. When you think McAllister, the other lad who went to Chelsea, the fullback, Cucurella, and then Dingo went to Arsenal as well. And you're just thinking, and then
the Casido,
and Casido could possibly go. You mightn't, and you're just this, season before last, they were their 3 of their most important players, and yet they've gone, and they've just gone sound. And I was listening to their manager the other day, and he was like, well, if we lose, I don't want to lose Casido, but if we lose him, fellas, have you got someone lined up, yeah? It's just it doesn't matter, does it? It's but, they're operating in a different market to us, so it's you bring players in, you get them in the team, you build them up. Hopefully you have 2 or 3 years with them, then you sell them, and then you have the next one ready to go. That's got to, Man United have just signed a kit deal today worth £900 million. It's there's no competing with this. There's just, you've got to find a way to do it, and this is the way.
Can't do it money for money, but
no, of course you can't. You've got to have and seeing the thing yesterday about the Champions League from next season, it's just
what's that? I haven't.
The way it's been, and someone put it on Twitter, and it was people. I think it might have been the first time a lot of people had seen it. It's just a free for all for cash, and it's just there's no way of competing with these teams unless you're clever, and you're not. It's not clever to just build a football team and go, right, we're going to let this team take on everyone now. You have to do it in a clever way, and if you have to go out and buy 19-year-olds that nobody's heard of, and then try and build them into a player in 2-3 years, that's what you've got to do. But that's what we did with Dom. And if it hadn't been for the injuries, Dom's trajectory would have been that he would have left Everton probably for about 60-70 million pound by now. Easily,
yeah.
Easily. People mightn't believe that, but he would have, wouldn't
Arsenal were all over him. He's got injured.
Newcastle would have come in for him or someone. It's just, or Saudi, whoever.
And you'd have moved on again. Only with Richie, didn't we? Okay, we didn't make tons of money on him, but we got good value out of him. We made a profit on him. You have to do it. We're not in a position where we're creating loads of external revenue. We're just not. And we're not likely to be unless we become a good side. You're only going to become a good side by getting good players. All this hands-to-mouth stuff it's basically surviving. Right? And therefore, look at them over across the park. They done it. They sold until he created a good side, didn't he? Suarez, Coutinho, Sterling. They were the 3 main ones, weren't they, that they sold and reinvested the money and bought well and developed. And now, they still probably...
Remember how much their fans cried when they sold Coutinho? And he literally enabled them to rebuild the back line for them to win the league.
Won them stuff, yeah.
So
you'd have to look at it like that. We all want to be in a position where we've got loads of money and we can do what we want. Of course we do, but the reality is it ain't that. And this Saudi thing, I still believe is just a gateway to the Super League, to them running the Super League, and these teams will leave anyway in a few years. That's what I think at the moment. Just the way it's lining up, it doesn't seem, there seems to be something else going on there as well. For us to survive and develop, do what the likes of Brighton have done. Get players in, get yourself a baseline performance, then get players in, develop them, steady player and a developing player. And the minute you start flipping it the other way, you sell one of them and you make the money and you go, right, that's going back in the team. That's going back in the team. If you do your work properly, you should be able to build yourself a good side by doing it. And then it becomes competitive. And then you see what happens.
But what you've got to do is, you've got to eliminate all the stopgaps in the way, though. You've got to eliminate all that. There's been a lot of stuff over on social media over the weekend. You've got to eliminate those stopgaps. You've got to eliminate anybody who's putting a block in the way of doing these deals. You've got to get that sorted,
The problem is when it's the owner.
No, that's what I'm saying.
He owns it.
You've got to get rid of all these stopgaps that hold things up, because the minute anything gets held up, the minute someone else will just nip in and go, well, if they've got any doubts over you, we haven't. And that's why
we've got the money.
That's why if this deal goes through, it's great, because it seems like being done really quickly without, and it'll be one of those ones where it's like, well, we bring them in and we've done the numbers and all that, and let's see what happens.
Yeah. Well, we'll see, won't we? But it's a difficult one, isn't it? It's a difficult one when you just know what you need. You haven't got the resources to do it. See what's what. We'll see what's what. Other players doing the rounds. We could be, we've been linked today with Teti from Shakhtar.
Yeah.
Who's free, 23 years of age. Ned's just got some stuff together for us there. Go on, Ned, throw him on. Throw it on. There he is. There is Youssef Chermiti. Okay, so it's 48 games, 6 goals, is that? Yeah, 19. Yeah, centre forward from Sporting. He is 6'4". He is only 19 years of age. As Ped said before, very, very. If he signs, we have to start exercising patience with some of these players. It's unlikely this lad is going to come in and tear it up immediately. It's unlikely. He might do. Brilliant. Be amazing if he did. Come in and got 30 goals and we sold him for 197 million next summer. Be amazing. The FFP sorted. Job done. It's unlikely he's going to come in and hit the ground running. So we have to exercise caution and patience. We're all asking. This is just my opinion, so don't beat me up over it, right? But I believe we're at a fork in the road now with the football club. I really do. We've got a ground we've just been talking about there on the horizon. It looks magnificent. It could change our future. Hopefully it will, for the better. Us as a fan base are at a fork in the road. We have to accept where we are. That doesn't mean accept that we're not a big club anymore. I still believe Everton are a big club. I think Everton are a massive club. We're not a massive team by any stretch of the imagination. The last couple of seasons have proved that we're not a massive team at all. But we're a massive club, in my opinion, in England. We are. Fans, incredible. Stadium on the banks of the Royal Blue Mersey going to be incredible. What we have to do as a fan base is accept where we are, make our peace with that, and then build on top of that. And what I mean by that is the likes of this signing. It's the likes of, can we get behind this lad and let him develop? Can we start to be patient with each other? Can we get behind the team? Can we drive this football club forward? But can we also, we should also, though, never stop demanding more either. Just because I'm saying we're at a fork in the road, we need to be more supportive in a way with everything. Not the support's incredible. There's 3,000 Evertonians there on Saturday. Unbelievable for a bleeding pre-season friendly. The third one in a week, by the way, and the third away game in a week. Not talking about going to match. That's incredible. Support that. But the way we are, let's start building that back. Let's build that unity and start to accept and say, like, this kid might come in and he might struggle a little bit at the start. Let's back him. Let's not be judged. He's crap, this kid. What is that? Why have you wasted that money? Blah-de, 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 blah-de. That's got to go. That's got to go. Got to let these players develop, because we're all looking, this is just me, by the way, we're all looking enviously at Brighton and at Brentford. Those two clubs have held up, especially because they're two who are doing it better. Teams used to look at us, clubs used to look at us 15 years ago, enviously going, how have they managed to get Kale, and how have they managed to get Lescott, and how have they managed... Because we were the ones doing the data. Moyes was amazing at the data, because he'd be up all night poring over it. He'd go and see the player, he'd be digging and digging. Therefore, he knew he had a minimum amount of money, and he had to make sure that every decision was almost a guarantee. And he didn't get much wrong, Moyes. Whether you liked him or didn't like him, he didn't get much wrong, given the budget he worked with. Right, and we have to get back to being like Brighton and Brentford while we dig ourselves a route back into the ones challenging for European football, where I believe Everton fully should be challenging for that. If you get to that stage, then why can't you then challenge for the Champions League? Why? Brighton come very close to achieving it last season, didn't he? Just fell away a little bit at the end. Aston Villa were on an unbelievable run. Imagine if Villa had started their turnaround right after the World Cup. You know, they could have got in the Champions League. You just don't know. Every season, one of those teams you expect to be in there has a wobble, and someone has to be able to try to take advantage of it. So that's where Everton should be aiming towards. They're not there yet, of course, they're not. But I think we only get there by being together. Still demanding better, but being a little bit
patient. You've got to get to a level, though, haven't you, before you can achieve that. That's unachievable until your club's at a certain level. You know, I said this over the weekend, Everton have got to sort all this nonsense. Good. Everton have got to sort all this nonsense out. You've got to get the MSP money, get that in the door, get the board sorted, and get everybody on the same page so we can move forward as a football club. As we are at the moment, we're fragmented. We're a fragmented club. We've been like this for a while. Get all that sorted, and then you can start thinking. We said this when Newcastle got took over. I didn't hear anyone talk. No, when Newcastle took over, I didn't hear anyone talking about, you've got to do this and you've got to do that, and you can't just swap one board for another. Oh, no one does that. Well, they did, didn't they? They just got rid of the board, and then they brought a new board in because they were like, "See, you're done, mate. Of course you can get rid of the whole board. You don't need to keep anyone on board on there, literally on board."
Yeah.
You've got to get these things sorted so the fan base can start going, well, that's all fine as much as it can be. What are they doing over there? Who's doing their job? Rather than going, I don't know if he's doing a good job, because actually one hand's time behind his back. So it's hard to know whether, is Kevin Felwell doing a good job? Well, I know that he's not being allowed to do the best job possible. So let's get all that sorted, and then we can get all our ducks in a row. You can't. We've seen this with what happened with Lampard. You can't be fully behind a football club and the direction of it's going in if you've got people throwing obstacles, and those people are within your own football club. So let's get all that sorted, and then we can start hoping for all that kind of thing. And move on as a club.
No, but that's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is the thing, isn't it? This is the whole... This is where we are. If we can start to accept... It's difficult because I don't like accepting it. I don't like thinking, we'll get a player and we'll keep him for 2 years and then we sell him. I don't want to think like that. I want to think we'll get that player and, if we put 2 more with him, all of a sudden we're a better... That's how I want to view it. But if you do that, if Everton would have took more chances... and had the confidence that everyone would back it, we could have took chances on players that we could get for a little bit of money, and we could have sold one. We could have took 3 and sold one of them and reinvested, and took 3 and sold one and done it that way. One for your team, one might be a squad, and one to sell. And if you worked off that very quickly, this Premier League, I've said it a million times, it ain't great. You get City are unbelievable, best team in the world. The top 2 or 3 are excellent. 3 or 4 after are decent. The rest, the others, are up and down a little bit. And then the bottom were crap last season, but we still didn't go. Right? But if you get yourself to a good base, you can climb that table quickly. But you need goals.
You've got to have a plan, you've got to have goals, you've got to know what you're doing. You've got like Brentford at the moment. Goalie's about to be sold 40 million. What's the manager of the weekend? So relaxed about it. So relaxed. It's not my job. They're dealing with that. The guy's a good guy.
It's mad, isn't it?
It's just like the guy's a good guy. He works really hard. You know,
would we accept that though?
No, I don't know whether it's about accepting it. I don't know whether it's about accepting it. I think it's just about, it's not about us as fans, it's about the manager, but the manager's like, Sam, look at the next one. He's so relaxed because he understands the plan of the football club. He has faith. Same with when the Brighton manager was on, you know, the Zabis, they're talking, he's like, I don't want to lose him. And they're like, but I've got someone already ready, lined up for the next one. And that's the plan. You've got to have faith in the plan. If your model is you're going to sell players to clubs, you've got to know that there's going to be times when it's not going to be on your time. There will be offers that come in that are going to be like, you can't go, oh my God, what are we going to do? Because that's what we seem to do. We're like, oh my God, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? These clubs go, yeah, okay, we're ready for that. You've got to be, and that can happen anytime. That can happen. Look, when Lukaku got sold, you know, you've got look at West Ham. West Ham have got 100 million. They cannot spend it because they don't have a plan. It's so clear. Moyes is fighting.
It's crazy though.
Moyes is fighting with the sporting director. The sporting director wants to bring players in. Moyes doesn't want to bring them in. So you've got 100 million, and everybody knows that they've got 100 million. So all their targets have gone up, and they're still trying to get players on the cheap. But because they're doing the old Moyes thing of like 100 million, let's maximise, bring 4 players in, because they haven't got a plan. So they clearly just not got a plan. What happens next? And they're like stumbling around.
I watched them on Saturday.
But that's the thing, isn't it? I spoke to Nicky he was like, and this was like a few weeks ago, and he was like, it's like, I know we want a trophy, but we're in a mess. It's like, from the outside, you're looking like, oh no, everything's there, it seems all right, don't they? But like, where's the plan? There is no plan. And that's the point. You sell a player for 100 million, you know, and you've known for a year, and you have not had a plan to replace that player. The Premier League will swallow you whole.
That's wild to me that they knew. Every man and his dog knew he was going this summer because he almost went last summer. That's Everton level, that, isn't it? Because other like clubs like Brighton and Brentford, I imagine, would have gone, okay, right, all right, he's going, so therefore let's have Liverpool at the done.
The point being is, though, a club like Brighton or a club like Brentford, right? They want to sell them for 100 million. They're prepared. The whole point of those clubs is to fatten the pig, to get them to 100, to give them a platform, to get them to that. You mentioned one the other day to me, and he ends up scoring a couple of goals in one of the games over there. And it's like this kid's come from nowhere. They sent him on loan to Scandinavia. He's come back, and we'll see how he gets on. But that's
lively though.
You're fattening these players. You want to sell them for 100 million. You don't want to sit there and go, oh, this is, I don't want to sell. It's like, you know what the career trajectory is of all these players now. They all want to play in the Champions League or whatever comes after the Champions League. And if you can't offer them that, all you can say is, we will give you a platform to do really well. But if you, like you said before, if you get 5 or 6, 7 of those players all at once, well, number one, you don't need to sell them. They don't need to sell Cancelo this summer, and they'll certainly do everything in their power not to. So what does that do? That puts his price up straight away. He's a hot commodity. You've got 2 or 3 teams after him. So suddenly he goes from being a 100 million player to 120 million pound player. Quid's in for you. You're right. You've probably got a plan for that as well. But it's just like, why did they buy them for that very reason? I could say that for £5 million. Man United could have had them. We could have had them, but Brighton took the chance, got him, and that's where what you've got to do now. So, and that's just football. And whether people like that or not, or think that doesn't make you a big club, then it's called reality. It's just called reality, because you've just got all these different you've got 2 different groups now. You've got the haves. Well, you've got 3, sorry. You've got the haves, the have-nots, and the ones in the middle who are feeding the haves. And that's the thing, isn't it? They're feeding them, and they're the supply line for the haves. Yeah. And you know, that's what makes you better as a club.
Absolutely.
If the top clubs are not trying to buy your players, then you're in trouble. Yeah. And the top clubs used to try and buy our players. Not interested anymore. We haven't got anyone wants.
We've got to have a position where we want the top clubs wanting to buy our players, but we can't be scared of that. And sometimes we'll lose them. We've seen it last year with Richarlison, didn't we? You know, we've seen him with Richarlison. He didn't really want to go. We know that. keeps donning his Everton gear, which proves he didn't really want to go. But we had to sell him because of the club's being run so poorly. But that's the way it is. Get him in. Have him for a few years, sell him. Same with Fellaini. It's great having Fellaini. He gave everything for Everton when he played for them. But he was here for 4 or 5 years and we shook hands and off we went. It was okay with Rom going. If Romelu Lukaku, it's rather he stayed. But if Romelu Lukaku would have left Everton and Everton would have replaced him with a striker, we'd have all just gone, fair play, we had him. We bought him for 30 million and we sold him for 90. We had him for 40, he banged all sorts of goals in for us and we sold him for a huge profit and we reinvested it in good strikers and we move on. The problem Everton did was we didn't do that. And okay, we got Dominic Calvert-Lewin out of it, but we should have had someone with Dominic Calvert-Lewin and that would have meant we're not where we are now. That's all it is. I watched Everton on Saturday and I was looking and going, well, if you're looking at talking to my dad about them, like you can see the makings of an all right side, but that final third still piss poor. And what it is there's no dynamism. We've lost Dwight McNeil there. Not convinced he's going to be fit for the first game. What I've heard, which is not great because it was just, again another whatever one of them things, and that's the problem with these games. Now, if he is missing for the opening game or two. He was our top scorer last season. So already he's come out. So you're talking of losing a top scorer immediately. So you're already a team with no goals with one down. And what Everton don't have is the dynamism. That's why Dobbin did make a big difference because the kid, even though his pass, his decision making's not great, he's lively and he runs at people and defenders don't like you running at them. Dead simple. I switched. The game finished and I was having a coffee with my dad and I switched over and put West Ham on. They were on playing Stuttgart. And I was just looking at Stuttgart and they just broke like lightning with players who, all good players, knocked the ball around, got into the final third, committed defenders, crosses in, shots in. And it was like, wow, look at the speed of this team compared to what we've just watched for 90 minutes. And Everton knock it round all right, but when it becomes walking football in the final third, and that's either Alex Iwobi, because he slows everything down, not saying not a good footballer because he is, but in them wide areas, he slows the game down, and then we had the other side. And that's why when Dobbin come in and injected a little bit of pace, we went up a level again and we looked like more likely to win it than them, didn't we? We should be having 3 or 4 of them. That's what our forward line should look like. Yeah. Our forward line should be work out, get it to them and then boom, dead quick, and we get men in the box and we commit them. We haven't got amazing players, so what you have to do with that is you have to make the opposition uncomfortable, and that becomes uncomfortable by either having pace or having 5 or 6 players in the box when a cross comes in, not one. In the first half, Dan Juma was in the box on his own, and occasionally Decore tried to get in there or James Garner. Second half, and near the end particularly, I know we scored off a corner and stuff. But we have bodies in the box and we get a cross in, Brantway flicks it on, Tarkovsky knocks it square and Onana puts it in. And it's like, that's simply by having bodies in the penalty area. So when we're committed to go forward, why aren't we getting players in? And that's for me where Everton really need, and listen, I'm not reinventing the bleeding wheel here, everyone knows this, but that's where we have to spend our currency that we have. If we can get 2 in, then we come towards the end of the window. Loans come into play as well, but we've got to get to that position.
For Brozier.
But he's available, isn't he? He's played in the Premier League. He's available. Chelsea are happy to let him go out. He's 6'3" or 4", can run with the ball, and he's a little bit in between, isn't he? Why not? He seems perfect for a loan. If you're not going to go, if Everton went and spent the money on Boulaye, I'd say sound.
Yeah,
get him in, sound. Then he becomes your number one. Dom's just a sub. Then. And that's up to Dom to force his way into the team. Don't forget Boulaye has played wide as well, so occasionally you could manage the 2 of them. He's also played second striker. That would make sense to me because then, like I said before, especially if Maupay goes the other way, we see Neil Maupay at the weekend, and I ain't bagging him out. We just don't play the way he needs to play. But my biggest bugbear with Neil Maupay, right, is that when Everton break a pace, he's never in the penalty area. And so the size of him, what is he hoping to achieve?
I don't know.
So does he want to be an attacking midfield player? Okay, if that's what you want to be, like a number 10, fine, I get that. Because you're always in them pockets anyway. But that isn't what we're about. So for us, it ain't ever going to work. Brighton, I think it worked better for him because he did have players making runs in behind, so he could drop and get it and turn and play. And they had runners. We just don't have that. And so, therefore, it's best for all parties if we can move him on. If Everton move him on and they can get Boulaye Dia for 16, 17 million quid plus Mopai, then that's a deal Everton absolutely should do. If they can't, like I said before, Miles Lieburn, I'd be all over Charlton, 1.5 million, 6'4", big Carl's lad. Yes.
Yeah.
I think he'd be a great choice for Everton. Be great off, again, he's another developing centre forward. But we've got to do something. We've got to do something. Teti, I mentioned him before. He's free. Spent last year at Leicester, didn't he? Only played 13 times, scored 1 goal at Villa. But he's free and he's direct and he's quick. I think he's got something 40 goals in 130 games or something overall. He's Brazilian. Gone downhill since we've had no Brazilians. I just don't want you to accept that point there and then. Why not? If money really is such an issue, then
the only thing is that that might be like false economy, though, mightn't it? Because
possibly, but he's got something. The kid, he's quick and direct.
I know. I worry about ones like that. There's quite a lot of players who are available on frees, and I just wonder it's because there is a false economy to bringing them in. You have to give them. They all want long contracts. They all want
bigger money,
money because they're free. And actually, you do wonder whether a few of them are placing themselves out of decent moves because of the free tag.
Yeah. It is mad, isn't it? Saw a super chat before and it's gone. I think, well, kind of gone, but it must be there somewhere. Just on these comments, the minute you touch it, it flies. It's a book of visuals. It says Mashiri is worth 3.1 billion. He was worth 1.2 billion in 2016. He wasn't he, when he took over? Yeah, he was a billionaire, but he was only just. Well, he's done all right then, hasn't he? Almost tripled his worth. Everton certainly haven't in that time. Or maybe they have, but what about Big Roscoe down the corner from me doing sprints at Favourite Street?
Why didn't you go down?
You know what I was going to go down and do, but
take Zach and just be like,
doing a bit of extra training, Ross. All right, lad. What do you think, lad?
He's another one, isn't he? Some of players who are on a free. The clubs are reluctant to take them because of what they want. They want 3-year contracts I'm free. I do think there's a false economy to it. And they're the players that you'll get the last week of the window because you're desperate, they're desperate, and you come to someone.
I've said it before. I'm still tempted by Ross Barkley because he's free. When I look at Everton on Saturday, and I think who travels with the ball in our team? Nobody.
Yeah, that is amazing.
He's not. Well, don't get me wrong.
Dwight McNeil does.
No, Dwight does. To be fair, but you need more of that. Ross Barkley's not the same player he was. Of course, he's not. But has he got something to prove? Is he hungry? But again, there's better options. Absolutely, there is. But if we're scratching around for them kind of players coming towards the end of the window, is he the worst choice you can make?
No, I don't think he is. I don't think he is, but
wouldn't be giving him a long contract. Though,
no, of course you wouldn't. You give him a year, and you'd say in the rest,
or at least we're putting you in the shop window for someone else, aren't we, for next summer? But there's other deals to be done before him. You could get better, of course you can. But we've got to shape this team into a team that can. I think this team can battle and scrap, but battle and scrap for 0-0s ain't great. We've got to be a team that can score goals and get up the pitch with the ball. And there's other players you can go, of course. A lot of people are excited by it, by Chermiti. Again, people are talking about the goals, yeah. But again, he's a young lad, isn't he, making his way in the game, really. He is only young, isn't he? Rondon the legend.
Everything he's got.
He is. Not everyone knows his name, no. That's one of the things. Rondon the legend says everyone smashed the like button. Good to see you back, Baz. Cheers, mate. Just keeps flying. Donnelly is a United fan, I think. Says we have McTominay, Maguire, Fred Williams for sale. You should buy some of them.
Fred Williams?
Fred I haven't heard of that one.
Who's Fred
Williams?
He sounds like someone who goes off. No, one of those fellas who goes off like big towers.
Yeah.
Well, tells you about them.
Yeah.
This was made in 1874.
Yeah, we haven't got the money Donnelly is the simple thing for Manchester United players.
No.
Brandon Williams an interesting one because he can play right back, left back, but how much do United want? He's quick.
McTominay, but
McTominay would be all. I know, listen, a lot of people will turn their noses up at Scott McTominay. I think he's all right. I think he's a decent player for what you need. There's obviously, again, there's loads of players. So when I say these players are decent, don't get a cob on because I've mentioned them lots of times. There's loads of players. There's loads of good footballers throughout the world. I'm just saying, if you're looking here and you're looking for options, these players are options as well. But I don't know how much Manchester United would want for them if they're talking 35, 40 million. Didn't West Ham have a 20-odd million pound bill, 30 million pound bill? We ain't paying that for Scott McTominay. Not a chance. So, Harry Maguire, I think West Ham have bid 20 million for him, turned down. Moyes trying to get all Man United players. So we'll see. We'll see from there, won't we? But we definitely need to get these forwards in for me. If you're looking now, right, and you're looking at that squad, say, right, what are your big concerns when you look at that squad?
Centre-back.
Is it?
Oh, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh, it's terrifying.
Even with Branthwaite?
No, it's terrifying. Branthwaite, yeah, but he's a kid, isn't he? And don't get me wrong, I like Branthwaite. I've always liked Branthwaite. I'm terrified he won't play Branthwaite for a start. I've no faith in Keenan and Ben Godfrey. I just got but I seen Ben Godfrey on Tuesday night looking for a Tesco in Bolton. I mean, it's the best bit of positioning I've seen from him all year. But I generally there's a worry there for me. An absolute worry for centre back. And I do think we need a bit more in midfield as well. I think we need someone who can open teams up. I think we need some. Centre back, I honestly believe is a really key position. Branthwaite is young, and I like the lad, but behind him, I'm worried behind him. What's there? But I do think we need someone in midfield as well who can open teams up, but has also got that engine.
Creative.
I mean, he can play. It'll be dictated by the style we play. But we need someone. And people will say that's a Iwobi. But the thing is, Iwobi does things at a million miles an hour. And I don't always think it. Like, I don't think it's a case of him being more intelligent than other players. I just think he does things so fast it doesn't always work. But I do think we need another one in there. But I'm a fan of Branthwaite. I've always been a fan of Branthwaite. I think he's got something that, don't forget, this is a kid who started playing for another club's first team in Carlisle. We brought him in. He's played games for us. He's played games on loan at Blackburn. He's come back from Holland. I think this is a great opportunity to put him next to Tarkowski. I think he's this is the right stage of his career. He's been with the under-21s for England. Winning that's important as well, surrounded by other people of his age who are ready. He's not one of these kids who's coming up and people might distort how good he is because he plays for the under-21s. I think this is a lad who's had a proper trajectory. Put him next to Taki. I think as long as he's not making consistent mistakes, he'll make mistakes, of course. They all make mistakes. They all do. But as long as he's not making like consistent mistakes, or there's something in his game where you're going, oh no, look. So I just the other two just don't fill me with any confidence. No. They really don't. Taki obviously is the number one, and he looks like he's going to be the captain this season as well. So
what it looks like. Yeah, centre back's an interesting one. Almost makes that. I know he's just signed another new short-term deal at United, hasn't he? But it almost made that Johnny Evans link one that was sensible, really, because he'd become the number. He wouldn't play, but he'd be the number 3, say, to guide Branthwaite if that was the way you were going. Keane, for me, he'd be pushed right down because he's I don't see how a fella that you took out at the end of the season because he was struggling, because we were letting goals in, becomes your number one just because others have got. I don't get that. To me, it's just stupid, and I don't think Sean Dyche is stupid. So that's where there's an issue. Centre mid, maybe we could do it.
We've got enough.
We've got enough to cover.
It's just, is it the right mix? That's the issue.
But again, if you put players if you get players in there in the final third who are dangerous, then that you can play any. You've just mentioned the Iwobi playing in there. Alex Iwobi absolutely can. Decore, again, so sloppy at the weekend with his passing, but he is someone we know can break and get goals. And that midfield four of Garner, Onana, Decore and Iwobi, if that's your four, and James Garner, you've got 5 lads there who can play in that position in there. That's quite good strength. And you have Dan Zuma, you get another wide play. You've got Dwight McNeil on the other side. Damari Gray, what happened with him? Will he stay? Will he go? I think he'll go personally. Then you bring another one. They're not that far away if you get the right players in the final third.
No, if players are scoring goals, it takes the pressure off everything, doesn't it? If the team's not scoring goals, it just puts pressure on everything. And the team that doesn't score goals didn't score that goals last season.
Balance, isn't it? It's all about the balance. Where are we? Sir Christoph says Iwobi needs to go. He doesn't offer anything. The Blue says Cody is a similar level to Keane. There's a reason why he's in the Championship. That's just something else. 89% want Chermiti on the vote. Of course, he's a striker. Jack A says, would you take Ross and Tetty on threes? You'd have to have a look, wouldn't you? You'd have to weigh it all up, I think. That's just the way it is. David Gundry says, would you take Sergio Ramos on a free?
I probably wouldn't. I must admit.
If you're on about 500 grand, you'd want, wouldn't you? Dan says, just excited that we might be signing a striker with a high ceiling and decent resale value. Possibly. Everton Vikings said, just seen Wolves and Bournemouth are in for him, so naturally he'll do a medical with us before signing for Wolves. I don't know, Wolves aren't very good, are they? They're struggling as well. So, right, we're going over to More Than a Game channel at 2 o'clock. The link will be here, so you don't have to go anywhere. No. You just join that, and we'll be discussing everything else there. And if anything else breaks, obviously, we'll do that. Hang on, Jack. Why do all the negative comments about Iwobi get read out and none of the positives? I don't think I've read any negative comments out about Alex Iwobi. Alex Iwobi is very good, working hard. He creates chances, no question about it. Doesn't score goals, never looks like he can score a goal. But he's a good footballer for Everton. The issue I have with Alex Iwobi is he's got 11 months left on a contract. And there's no sign that he's going to sign a new deal. So is this the latest Everton player that cost 30-odd million and will walk out the door for nothing? So some people like Iwobi, others don't like Iwobi. That's just football, isn't it? That's football.
He's okay.
He works hard, does well, needs to add goals, creates chances. We need other options as well, don't we? It's as simple as that. Right, like I said, you don't have to go anywhere. We'll be back live in about 7 minutes on More Than a Game, discussing everything else that is going on in the world of football. Thanks for watching. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and we'll see you in a bit. Take it easy.